What is the conditional mood in English? We use the conditional mood for hypothetical situations. When we don't know if something will happen, we make a guess about the outcome. What is the first conditional? We use the first conditional for a possible or likely outcome. This means that if a certain condition is met, the outcome will probably happen. For example, if she studies hard, she will pass the test. If the condition of studying hard is met, it is likely that the outcome will be passing the test. The most common first conditional pattern is if plus present, will plus verb. Note that we use a comma after the if clause. For example, if it is sunny tomorrow, we will go to the beach. The if clause doesn't have to start the sentence. Another common pattern for the first conditional is will plus verb, if plus present. Note that we don't use a comma before the if clause. For example, we will go to the beach if it is sunny tomorrow. Let's take a look at some more examples of first conditional sentences in English. If he drives really fast, he will get a speeding ticket. If the students do well on the test, their teacher will let them go home early. If you miss the bus, you will be late for school. She will be tired tomorrow if she watches TV all night. The children will eat all these cookies if we don't hide them. We will be so happy if we win the game on Saturday. Look at the picture. Say or write a sentence using the first conditional. For example, if you stay out late tonight, you will regret it tomorrow morning. Now you try. If the students study hard, they will get good grades. She will move to a new city if she gets the job. My friend will be angry if I forget his birthday. I will call you if I need help with my homework. If he is late, he will miss his appointment. What is the conditional mood in English? We use the conditional mood for hypothetical situations. When we don't know if something will happen, we make a guess about the outcome. What is the second conditional? We use the second conditional for an unlikely or impossible outcome. This means the outcome probably wouldn't happen because the condition can't or probably won't happen. An example of an unlikely situation is, if I won the lottery, I would buy a tropical island. Winning the lottery is a very unlikely condition, so the outcome of buying a tropical island would probably never happen. An example of an impossible situation is, if I had wings, I would fly up to the stars. Since people don't have wings, this condition is impossible, so the outcome of flying to the stars wouldn't happen. The most common second conditional pattern is if plus past, would plus verb. Don't be confused by the past verb in the if clause. We use the second conditional for a present or future situation. Note that we use a comma after the if clause. For example, if I were the leader of this country, I would make many changes. The if clause doesn't have to start the sentence. Another common pattern for the second conditional is would plus verb, if plus past. Note that we don't use a comma before the if clause. For example, I would make many changes if I were the leader of this country. Did you notice that the past form of the be verb is were? Was becomes were in the if clause of a second conditional sentence, no matter what subject pronoun or noun is used. Let's look at some more examples of second conditional sentences in English. If you became the CEO of the company, you would make a lot more money. If our teacher just gave us the answers, we wouldn't learn anything. If I lived on the moon, I would have a great view of Earth. They would have money to travel if they sold their house. We would be very surprised if a celebrity came to our small hometown. I'd stop eating junk food if my doctor told me to. Look at the picture. Say or write a sentence using the second conditional. For example, if the children ate all that candy, they would feel sick. Now you try. If I were a dog, I would sleep and eat all day long. I would spend more time with my family if I didn't work so much. She would buy me a new car if she had $1 million. If I had any musical talent, I would take piano lessons. He would surf every day if he lived near a beach. What is the conditional mood in English? We typically use the conditional mood for hypothetical situations. When we don't know if something will happen, we make a guess about the outcome. What is the third conditional? The third conditional is also known as the past conditional. We use the third conditional to express a past regret or imagine a different outcome. For example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the test. This means that I failed the test, but I can imagine that if the condition of studying harder had happened, The outcome of passing the test would have happened too. In this sentence, I am expressing regret about failing the test. The most common third conditional pattern is if plus had plus past participle, would plus have plus past participle. Note that we use a comma after the if clause. For example, if it had been a nicer day, we would have gone to the beach. The if clause doesn't have to start the sentence. Another common pattern for the third conditional is would plus have plus past participle, if plus had plus past participle. Note that we don't use a comma before the if clause. For example, we would have gone to the beach if it had been a nicer day. Let's look at some more examples of third conditional sentences in English. If he had forgotten his umbrella, he would have gotten very wet. If we'd known you were in the hospital, we would have come to see you. If you hadn't eaten the whole pizza, you wouldn't have felt so sick. She would have bought a new car if she had gotten a raise. I would have called you back if my phone hadn't died. They wouldn't have bought a new house if they hadn't won the lottery. Look at the picture. Say or write a sentence using the third conditional. For example, if I had remembered his birthday, he would not have been so angry. Now you try. The children would have gone to the park if the weather had been better yesterday. If the authorities had sent the tornado warning sooner, fewer people would have been in danger. He would have gotten the job if he had done well at the interview. She would have given a better presentation if she had been better prepared. If I hadn't left my keys in the door, I wouldn't have had to go back home on my break.